So Keltasar said that I should maybe do more smaller videos where I just quickly and low effort explain what's going on and what the current status is, and basically a devlog. And I haven't done that in a long time because it haven't really been worth the time, because not so many people are watching it, and I'm connecting with you guys, with the more hardcore fans in the live streams. So I haven't really spent time doing videos because it takes a long time to do. And I'd rather use that time on actually developing the game. But then some months ago, I did just a little brief recording of me playing with, I can't remember if it was Gunako and Berto, I think, just testing out some of the new stuff I've been working on. And that was a little devlog because I was explaining to them whatever I did, and I just recorded that and put it up. And actually fairly many was watching that video, and Keltasar, why didn't I do more like that? And again, time versus, whatever I get out of it. But seen in the context of, I could rather spend time working on the game and not making videos. But anyway, long story short, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I kept going out of the thing, and I prepare stuff, and I spend way too much time on the videos, and preparing and editing and all that stuff. So I will try something new maybe, and I can't promise that I will continue on it and can continue doing it. But Keltasar made me think that what Keltasar said made me think that maybe I could do these kind of small videos like this one, which is very low effort. It's just me recording. No real editing, just some background music and me talking here, live editing, camera in and out and stuff like that. And then basically just go over the developer news, which I'm already doing every month and have been actually doing that consistently for the past 1.5 years. I think I started when I started on the multiplayer. So 1.5 years now, I've been doing this consistently every month. So maybe I could just to post something, I could just do these small videos where I basically just explain a little more than, maybe some background, a little more in different words at least, what I just put out in the developer news, because the developer news is just a very short, brief version of what's going on, basically. So I'll try this time, and already I'm 3 minutes in, so let's do it a little quickly. But again, it's low effort, so no editing, at least not very much. So let's get to it. So, developer news, July 2024. Monthly update from the developer. I'm not gonna read it all, I'm just gonna explain it, but I was just reading the title just to get started. But yeah, the first headline is July is vacation time, and really where I'm from, Denmark, and I guess many places in the world, July is a summer vacation period. Not a lot is going on because I'm spending time with family and doing other stuff than sitting at the computer, which I'm doing all the other months of the year. So therefore, July is a little low on stuff, but I'm not further away than now. It's the 24th of July, and I'm recording this video and posting up this stuff, and just released a small version that I actually did previously in July. So stuff is happening. Anyway, so single player and blueprints. That's some of the stuff I will be working on for the next, I don't know if it will be an entire month, but at least that's some of the stuff will work on right now. And as it says here, as the name suggests, multiplayer beta, I'm working on multiplayer, of course, but to enable me to release this game later in the year, hopefully around December 2024, release this major update, which is taking the game from being a single player game to being a single player and multiplayer game, plus a lot of other stuff that has been going on while doing the development of the multiplayer. So the reason I'm looking into getting multiplayer to work now is one of the steps, as we'll also get to in a moment, which is the settings, that I'm trying to get the game into a state where I can actually release this version. So it have all the features from the previous version, plus all the multiplayer version, multiplayer features. And the reason I'm doing this now, even though it's only July, is so I have releasable or shippable version of the game that I could basically ship. And then on top of that, just adding new and better multiplayer and new features and stuff like that. Because multiplayer right now is working. It's not perfect and it's not done, but it's working. So therefore I'm switching now for a brief period of time to make single player and blueprints work in single player, so that we have all the features that we have before. And then after that, because then the game is more or less in a state where I could release it, meaning it's ready for December. And then from now on to December, it's just a matter of how much extra stuff can I get into the game before it's released to everybody. So I don't know if it makes sense if you're not a developer, but this is the reason, this is the way to, because I'm a single developer and I'm doing this in my spare time, and you will do it in a bigger team too, but it's good to have kind of a shippable game. There's a way of thinking, so you have an always shippable version of the game, and then you just add these minor things on top of that to make it better and better over time. Yeah. So therefore I'm looking into making single player work and multiplayer work. And why is that not just there? Because it was in the old game. In the current version it's there. But the thing is that the multiplayer, to make multiplayer work, I had to actually redo a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So it's not like I can just take the single player, the version that you currently have in the normal the single player version. I can't just take that into multiplayer, because the multiplayer is basically a much newer version of the single player. So it's not a totally different game, but it's a very different game. So therefore I have to redo single player in multiplayer. And really what it means is that it will basically be what you know from multiplayer, but just where people can't join. And there will be some other things that I hopefully can change in the single player, like you can spawn a lot faster because you're the only one there. There's no network thing, but technically it will just be a multiplayer game where you're only the host, and it's just a local game where nobody can join. But you don't see that. It's a technical thing. But I will have to do it that way because the game is now multiplayer, so it works like that. But for you as a player, doesn't really matter. You click single player, pick the map, and then move on. And just play as you would normally do. And of course, therefore, also blueprints have to work, because that's a big deal that is not working now in multiplayer, and making that work in multiplayer is a totally different story that I will take later on. It will be disabled for multiplayer for now, but I have to make it work in single player because it's a feature that people are used to be using. Yeah, so that has to work. So single player and blueprints in single player mode is what is up next for me to work on. Then the question is blueprints in multiplayer, because how can we do that? Because very easily, if I just let anybody load any blueprints that they want, it could very fast be a spammer's paradise with huge blueprints. So we have to figure out a way, and when I say we, it's basically me who needs to do it, but in dialogue with you guys, because already I have had some suggestions from people on how how blueprints could work in multiplayer. Like something like each player you can propose, like spawn kind of a blueprint box, only one per player at the time, and then other players and host can vote on that to allow it. So if more than half votes yes, this guy we want to load this blueprint that he just spawned here, then it will load, because this way spammers can't really misuse it. And also there will need to be some metadata on that blueprint, so when you look at it as a player or as the host, walk up to this little blueprint box that I will have to design, you can see how many items, for instance, is in there, or something like that. So you have an idea what you are actually voting on. What is the size of this blueprint? Is it like 10,000 things, or is it 100 or something like that? So something like that could be a way to enable blueprints in multiplayer without it being a total spammer mayhem, which will just lag everybody out and won't be fun for anyone. Anyway, going back to this little list here, because as part of making the game shippable, getting to a shippable state where I can release it at any time, also the UI, the settings UI, which is something that has been lagging completely. I don't have a screenshot of how it was before, but basically the settings UI have been the same almost since the game was released actually, and it was just like a couple of boxes and components, and I couldn't add more to it because there was no kind of tapping or way to group things or anything, so it was really not very scalable or dynamic or anything. So in the last month I worked on that and that is actually implemented in the latest version now, 2024 7.1, and I just released 0.2 right now, but that was not related to settings. So the settings now look like this, and we can start the game in a moment and I can show it. But I really enjoy, I really like this new layout, because now I have these kind of tabs or pages or whatever you want to call it, but at least a way to group things, and I can add more to this list. So I can group a bunch of settings over here, and I could have audio here, I could have many, maybe we should take, let's take for instance here, it's only game language, that's nothing, but I could add another headline down here and a lot of different settings here, and this side over here is made as a scroll panel, so if I add more to it, more than it can show, it would just let you scroll down, so I can basically have endless of settings. I will have to implement it, of course, and I have to make it work, but now the system, both the UI framework to make this work is in place, and also the logic behind is much easier to work with than it was before. So this is a big step, and it's the same in-game. I think I have a screenshot here where you can see the game in the background, and now it's the main menu, or the menu, not the main menu in the game over here, where you can respawn in settings and exit the game, and you can see the join code and stuff like that. But it's the same UI framework over here, like with this column here, which is some filtering, and then we have the content over here. And this UI language that I show here is very inspired by Rust, if you have played Rust. Not that I'm a big Rust player, I haven't played a lot, but my kids, the youngest one, is playing it a lot, so I have seen a lot of it, and I just like this UI style here with these columns here and then content over here to the right. So then in the future, then when the workshop gets when I redo the UI for that, will most likely turn into something like that. So we have filters here and the mods over here. The same goes for multiplayer, where I think I'll have some filters here and the list of servers over here. So I think this will be more and more common UI thing when we talk navigation UI like this. I don't know if to call it navigation UI, but general main menu UI like this. This will be the UI language for that. Yeah. So I really like that, and that is in place now, so it's much easier to use. Also, one thing we got doing this, I made it, is borderless mode, which is something that I personally would have liked for a long time, because having exclusive full screen, so when you tab out it takes a while to get out, but it's more performant. But the borderless window mode here is really nice because it looks like full screen, but you can easily tap in and out and stuff like that. So that's just a little thing. And also all the settings are now, when you change it, it's affected immediately. So when you turn the audio up and down in the audio thing, maybe I should just have opened up the game and showed it instead of showing the screenshots. But anyway, I'm already way too far in this video, so I'm just showing the screenshots here. So when you're dragging this or changing any of the other settings, it's affected immediately. And I hope to be able to do that with most of the settings. Only difference is the display, because that can be annoying if the screen is flickering and stuff like that. So all these settings here is something that you change, and then this apply button lights up, and then you have to hit apply to make it take effect, of course. Yeah, so that's it. That's a big thing, and as UI is not what I'm best at, I really like the results so far of this. It's really nice. Yeah. Next up, single player and blueprints. And that's what I've been working on for the next, hopefully not month, but for the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I will push it in an update whenever it's ready to be tested. Yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think about a video like this. Is it useless? Is it too low effort? Because I don't want to do it if people are not don't want to watch it. But I don't want to spend too much time doing a very edited devlog and all that is fun and quick cuts and all that stuff. Simply don't have time for it. So yeah, let's see. Let me know what you think in the comments, and see you in the next video maybe, or in the next live stream. Bye.